Hey, Montez, good to see you again. I hope all is well. Sorry about a few technical difficulties. We'll be uploading this version up to the YouTube later on today. But there were some technical difficulties when of course, sometimes when you do things, you make mistakes and you have to like
Mhm.
own up to those mistakes. And that's what I did. I actually modified one of the files instead of creating a new one for this live session. And it kept the old information that I modified plus the new information on you. And so that clashed. And of course, it did not go well for us. But anyway, thank you for your patience. We're starting a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit late, but tell us about your day and what kind of day did you have?
Well, my day was more productive than it's been here in the recent past. Um, I needed documents for employment. I was able to acquire those documents. Um, Employment thereafter strong. I cooked a nice meal,
So
and
you cook, so you can cook.
I mean I'm a country boy. That's what we do. Them cornfields in Indiana. They teach
Yeah.
you a few things, and yeah, I felt like I did something,
Well,
and
good. I'm glad to hear that. So your day, you woke up today, you opened your eyes, you had some tasks in front of you, and
yep.
you decided to just, you know, play a little game with yourself, I guess, and just go ahead and just get them done.
Well, I kind of thought that I was um a character on the Fantastic Four. You know, the one that turned into fire. He liked to fly, and, and I wanted to be him, and I did. It's cold out here. I wasn't cold at all.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If this today was the last day you had on earth and you knew you were going to die tomorrow,
Yeah.
what would you have done differently today?
I probably would have had some more patience
Patience
with
with?
myself.
Okay.
Myself.
All right.
Um,
Explain that, please.
well, a lot of times I can't attest to anyone else's life, but I would like to think that the human race, human beings, like things done on their own time, the way that they want them to be done. Um, and as you keep growing, you getting older, a lot of things come with that, and one of those things are understanding. And you got to understand that things ain't always going to happen in your time.
Oh, yeah. So, most humans, as I think you just said, they begin to believe that the world revolves around them.
Yeah.
And uh, oftentimes when they do that, they forget about other people. But this is the
Hmm.
last day of your life, and tomorrow you're dead. So, wouldn't you want to jump right in with abandon and 2 feet and head first and whatever you got to do just to enjoy that day and get stuff done?
No.
Not on your last day?
On
Interesting.
my last day, um, because I don't, I'm in the middle of my life, and I don't feel as if this first half was what it should be, should have been. And so on my last day, I want to pay homage and show appreciation and show a little bit of love. I don't got time to you know live it like it's my last day. I'm trying to get next to the people that I love, because that's all I ever had.
Well, and I understand that, but what
Yeah.
I'm thinking about is in a task-oriented environment where you gotta get stuff done. Let's say you have to say goodbye to everybody because you know you're not gonna be here tomorrow. Let's say you have to show that love and get over to grandma's house and go over to your wife and hell, hold on to your kids. I would think you'd want to do that with some type of sincere purpose.
Well, yeah, and you use the words task oriented, and
In
so yeah, that I guess that would be a
that
task,
regard.
because yeah, you're right.
And I think Steve Jobs, before he died,
Hmm.
um, I think he gave a speech at some university. It was a very prolific speech. And one of the things he talked about, he told three stories, one about his life of being a dropout and not amounting to much. And then he talked about being at his company and reaching the pinnacle and then being fired from his old company. And then he
Mm,
talked about living every day like it's his last day and recognizing each day for that value of it being his last day on earth. You know, he subsequently died of cancer
mm,
that he had been already diagnosed with by the time he made this speech. And so he was speaking in a very solemn and clear way. And what he was trying to tell the world was that uh, when you are about to die, nothing else is important to you but those people and
mm.
not those deadlines and not all the rigmarole of life, but the actual things that mean something. What you were saying earlier. So you know, we were both heading in the same direction to get right here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was so important about his death day conversation, I would adopt it if I were you, so you don't miss anything. And it's not just about the death day of seeing family members and all of that, but death day of what did you want to get out of that day? Do you want to get the fullest expectation out of that day? The fullest happiness, the fullest amount of understanding, the fullest amount of accomplishment. What do you want to get out of that day? And you have to make that your benchmark every day to where it becomes so normal for you to get up, and they call it with abandon. Like, forget the sheets, forget the covers. I'm jumping out and I'm going to hop out into the world and get some stuff done.
Yeah.
I think you were on that path this morning. When you say you woke up, you had some stuff to do. You
Mm.
oriented yourself towards getting it done. And you had a content day, I think you said. You had a content day. I think you said that before a technical difficulty. So I'm just repeating what you said when we were not
Yeah.
on camera. But and that content day got a lot done for you. Did you have a
Yeah.
negative moment today?
I had a couple disappointing moments, but not negative.
What happened disappointingly? And that's a good thing that you can make that differentiation between negative and disappointment. That's a most people don't even know how to do that. They just think everything is negative, and when it's just disappointment sometimes. But go ahead.
Yeah.
So tell us what was the difference between your disappointment today and what would normally be negative? Can you tell us?
Well, so my business was at the DMV here in this state, in this city.
Hmm.
And I've lived across the Midwest, good 4 states. This the fourth one now.
Hmm.
And everyone I've always had an ID or a license or something to that effect. And I also happen to know that the requirements to acquire those documents are one and the same in every state. Certain documents they don't want to accept here. They'll tell you certain things on the website, but it's not true when you're in person. And so documents that I needed and didn't think I needed at the time, I had to
Hmm.
hurry and put some fire. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um,
Find out a better
and
way.
yeah, I got a little discouraged a couple of times because I'm coming to you not two proofs of identification of verification of my citizenship, but 5 or 6. And you're telling me no, I want that. And I'm like, okay, let me I got you. Hold on 1 minute. And so
Right.
um that hold on 1 minute turned into a smile when I left. And so it panned out. So no, it wasn't negative.
You
It was
persevered even in the face of disappointment. You
yeah,
persevered, kept going, and you made it a positive outcome and a
yeah,
useful outcome than
yeah.
a negative one and something that would have set you back. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good day because licensure in any state or the ability to be mobile is very
Mhm.
important everywhere. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
get anything done without mobility. So I understand what you mean. Um, so you got that document. So what kind of employment are you looking at? You said.
Well, I've been in the manufacturing industry just because I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, I'm a worker. I
Mhm.
like to pick things up, put them down. Um I went to school for commercial custodial technical school, outside of the academics, learn
Mm.
the trades. So I like to clean.
Okay.
Um, oh, I lost track. Sorry,
You're,
I'm
you're
so
finding a
sorry.
place to go to work now.
Oh yeah. So manufacturing is where I lay my head at, and there's a food packaging company here that's paying quite a bit of money for
Mm.
just a little bit of time, and I've adjusted in the way that I need to fulfill my with you all, and
Mm.
I'm happy about it. The only thing I'm not happy is the fact that it's 38 degrees in the plant.
I don't think many people, what? Okay, so it's a meat packing or cold freezer or
It's
something like that.
food packaging. Yeah,
But are you
yeah.
bundled up in there? Are you bundled up? They give you the right kind of gear to wear?
Well, yeah, you don't even wear your own like
Clothes.
shoes. When you come in there, they'll give you they're gonna put you in some type of a jacket, but you get a certain type of boot, a certain type of cotton gloves,
For your
things of that.
safety and so you don't get
Yeah,
frostbite or get cold or
yeah, yeah.
okay, so that's not too bad. Is it an 8 hours straight in a facility like that, or do you get
It's
breaks? Or how
10.
does that work?
It's 10 hours. You get like 3 breaks, um, 2 paid, 1 unpaid.
Okay, will you still be able to
Um,
make these sessions?
yeah, that's why I say I've adjusted. I'm I'm gonna stand on it, you know.
You know, your livelihood is more important than just about anything, especially when you're
Mhm.
contributing to your family. But thank you for making time for us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
People like your personality because you're always looking to get somewhere to get something done, and that's a good thing. So in that regard, remember we were talking the last time on our last interview, we talked about, you saying you line up with me and be with me, or there's no other way to do it. How do you feel about that now?
Well, I can't lie. I love my charisma. I love the leadership. I accept what comes with it. But I also know that you got to follow in order to know how to lead.
Well, that's probably the most powerful thing you've ever said.
And so I'm not in a hurry. I don't mean to try to shape. God didn't make us, our higher power didn't make us out of we're not clay. I'm not to be molded. You're not to be molded. And so I can't force anyone in any way to do what I want them to do, but I got the ticket though.
But
That's my,
let's go back to that definition molding. I think you
yeah,
can mold people in a certain way, but it's not yours to determine what that mold comes out as in
there
the end.
you go.
But yeah,
Yeah,
let them be their own creative, muse to themselves in order to
yeah.
follow a path of their own life. But I know what you mean, and I think our audience absolutely know what you mean, that, this manifest destiny that everybody wants, is sometimes starts within yourself. And
Mhm,
so what you project out there will actually be what occurs.
mhm.
People want to follow you, Montez. They do, but you have to meet people halfway.
Yeah.
Every leader, and you said it the best, you have to be a great follower in order to be a great leader. Yeah, I believe in that. I've lived by that my whole life. You have to be able to follow if you're going to lead. If you can't follow, it's impossible for you to lead. You can be the boss, and that's not normally the most admired position because people who are just bosses who don't lead, don't help, and they don't nurture. So bossing is not a good thing. So when you find out what the needs are of the people around you in your home, in your workplace, and you first find out what their needs are. And
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be something tangible, but they may want to be called Bob instead of Robert. They may want you to walk them in and get a cup of coffee at the little truck stand outside of work, and y'all have a coffee together. Sometimes people need that communication, that style of communication. You said charisma. They sometimes need it so much that they will like you or dislike you based on whether you can fulfill those small needs. They need respect. And the only way anyone ever gets respect, Monte, is if they give it. You
Yeah.
get respect no other way. If you don't provide or give respect in any circumstance, you'll never get it back. So that's, it doesn't matter if he's giving you respect first or you giving him respect first, or woman or family or friends. It doesn't matter. You both should start off from a point of view of respect.
Right.
Now, in a relationship, like a wife or a girlfriend or fiance, and I know this sounds kind of male chauvinistic, but in our society, men are set up kind of badly. We have to perform on high all the time. We have to always provide. We have to always be, on alert. We have to secure everything. We have to make sure they're safe. We got to make sure they have a roof over their head. We have so many responsibilities as men, and not all of us can keep those responsibilities, as well as we'd like. Even in the best families with money and power and prestige and education, they still have the same problems that the guy with no money has, with leading the family and providing for them. So it's not like, we live in a vacuum. We don't. We all live in the same, tub of crap. And we try to, rise to the top and get things done as a result. But when you're dealing in a relationship of marriage, best friendship, if it's a man and a woman or something like that, it always makes for a better circumstance of communication and understanding, because men are supposed to lead the family and lead the unit in the relationship. The woman should be the kind of woman who respects her man. If a man gets respect from a woman first, no matter what, if he gets that from her, he is her champion for the rest of his life. He'll never doubt her or hurt her or put her in any circumstances where she would want for anything or feel insecure or not secure about her life or herself. That's what you look for in a relationship. Do you find that in your relationships, Montez? Respect.
Are you speaking as for the present or in the past or?
Past, present, future? I mean, is respect a part of the formula that keeps you in a good relationship?
It's definitely like at the top. I mean, actually, I gotta have some respect. In the past, I never, man, my mind was so distorted, my thinking was so distorted. I didn't care about no respect. I wanted what I wanted, whatever that was, or
Mhm.
whatever I wanted to do. Nowadays, I'm married, and I'm not. Respect is a respect. It's like an umbrella, and it encompasses a wide range of different areas within that.
You
You
can be
see what I'm saying?
specific. You can, no, listen. Let's just cut through the chase. Your wife's number one responsibility in your
Yeah.
relationship, you guys should be both each other's priority.
Yes.
Period. Good
Yes.
times, bad times, middle times, and just the relaxing times. You guys should be each other's priority. And
Yes.
all of the things that are produced from that priority-driven relationship that you have with your wife should be directed toward the family members first, normally your children, and then your peripheral family, mothers and cousins and uncles and all of that. But hierarchically speaking, it should be a team at the top of two people who
Mhm.
respect one another. And a
Mhm.
woman is much stronger than a man sometimes, by the way, I need to tell you. A woman is much stronger than a man sometimes. And and maybe her brazenness to try to get you to see her strength could oftentimes create an environment of disrespect. And she may
Yeah.
disrespect you in your eyes when she's just trying to get you off a dime one, or get you off of, you know, that I woke up, I felt bad today, and I don't feel like getting something done. She's trying to get you out of that so you can get on with your day and you guys as a team can get something accomplished.
Right.
You can find that a role that I just described, something that's indicative of your life.
Yeah, I do. I do. Not before. nowadays,
Not before what? Not before.
not in the past, like past relationships, no, nowhere near. Um, Now it's like, yeah, there is a, I mean, I am priority. She is priority. Like there isn't there now I can't sit here and tell you there ain't sometimes some disrespectful tones or
Mhm.
words, because there are, and we ain't perfect, but we are priority to get, we are a team. We ran um beneath her tutelage, beneath her tutelage, her strength. We okay. We ran
Teaching you
complexes
how to
from,
keep respect between what you and you and she, or she are you and her? Is she doing that?
yeah. Well, this is the thing right here. We're alpha, and so it's gonna be a. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna be a head butting sometime,
Well,
and
technically speaking, for the
yeah,
family unit, the way it's been set up for tens of thousands of years and since
yeah,
evolution, millions of years, she's not the alpha. You are. She may be alpha oriented in area, but you're the alpha
yeah,
as the man of the family, traditionally speaking. But sometimes women take the lead too. That's not to say that that's wrong, but it's not traditional. In this particular
mm,
case, you're two very strong people, and that's okay. Because sometimes when you get two bulls in a china shop, you're gonna break something.
yeah,
You're just gonna break something. But one of the bulls, and I think just by the way society is set up, we're fighting against societal norms, family norms, religious norms, cultural norms. We're fighting against all of that when a woman leads a man.
mm,
It definitely adds to the burden of inferiority
mm,
complex that I think you, based on our conversation so far, I think you could possibly have some areas of work to do in inferiority complex area where you feel that other people are better than you or stronger than you or more capable than you, and you feel less than them because of the road you've been on. You've been on a crap road. I mean, prison and then I'm out, prison and then I'm out, prison, then I'm out, prison, then I'm out. You've not had enough time to accumulate those experiences that would make you feel more secure about you. Because security doesn't come just because you say, okay, today I feel secure and I can fight, so I feel secure. That's not
yeah,
security. That's just fighting.
yeah,
Security is ensuring that your environment and your family and your friends and the things that your job and your vision forward, your happiness, your is in a place where you can not control, but definitely monitor and maintain it.
yeah, yeah,
So because security is just going to be its own thing over time. And if you try to over control security or your secureness in this particular case in your family, it's going to, especially or in the workplace, it's going to backfire. So the best thing to do is be as secure as you possibly can and then try to maintain that and not overdo it. And that's going to not come to people who have never experienced it. Of course, you're going to feel like less than you walk into a room and you don't have the education that they have. You're going to feel like, oh, maybe I should be quiet because they're talking and they're speaking in languages and in words that I don't recognize. So you
mm,
lose just a little bit. And then they start to laugh about jokes that, you know, in the context you're used to those jokes, it's not funny, but they're speaking about something that may have that heightened sense of laughter and joy, but because you don't have the experience to know what that is, you can't laugh at it with them. Or they're talking about a promotion from where, let's say where you are now in this cold area working and being a supervisor where you can have a smaller jacket and walk in and out of the office most of the day and lead those people. But you can't talk to that because you've never experienced that. You can't say, yeah, and the best thing to do around 2 o'clock is to do such and such with the machinery because of course we can then get more productivity. You can't say that yet until you can. And that causes inferiority in so many different people or the complex in so many different people when they walk into new environments. What can help you with inferiority complex is not what most people do and say, they say this mantra, I can do it no matter what. I can make it and I can whatever. And then they go and they fall on their face and then they feel even worse because they can't make it and they can't do it until they get to the process where they can do it. But what can work for you is taking an opportunity every single day and take inventory of you. If you start out your day taking inventory of what your capabilities are, where your heart is that day, who's important to you at work, what's important to you, who are people around you who are most effective, to whom can you speak to learn something from, that they can tutor you, that you can have that cup of coffee with them and they can nurture and develop and help you come along in that position. That's the kind of humility you should have. Not that, oh, yes, sir, I got you. No problem. I'll do whatever you need. That's not humility. That's just kicks and rear. They've been teaching that crap in institutions and churches and stuff all over the world for thousands of years. It's never done anything for anyone. The kind of humility you need is to humble yourself into a set of circumstances where others want you to be there. And they want you to grow and prosper and be stronger and better. Remember, people, just general people, they want you to do better. They just never want you to do better than them. So they'll help you until you look like you're a threat to them. So don't be a threat. That's how you overcome. That's one of the ways you overcome the inferiority complex, by recognizing, one, that you have one. We all do. Sometimes I talk to psychiatrists and psychologists, and they're throwing out all these terms and stuff. I don't know some of those terms, but I don't care. See, I'm built differently. I could care less. I know I have a capability of learning those terms. I know that I can put two words together and I understand phonics. I think that, yeah, I can figure it out. And if I can't, I'll Google it. I'll AI it, or I'll do something. I'll figure it out. Then we'll have an intelligent conversation. I'll do it in their face. I will not feel embarrassed. There's no amount of that can stop me. And that's the idea I think Steve Jobs was talking about. He says sometimes in the most adverse and worst circumstances, when he was fired from Mac, he built the company he built, was fired by his board of directors, and a guy he hired to run the corporation. They fired him. So he went out and built another company called Pixar, the one that makes those Toy Story animations, the best technology in the world for all that. And he built the most amazing stuff and a couple other companies like that. And then he convinced Macintosh and Apple to buy Pixar. So he found himself right back in there. He found himself right back in to the Apple Corporation and the Mac area, which he ended up leading again. But this time he had to go out, and his worst moment, being fired from his own company he built from his gut, his soul. He went through great disappointment and during all these bad times and aridity, he kept his focus, and he didn't let him put him down. And I see you, because prison is hard. It's hard to come back from. So many people that I've interviewed who've dealt with prison in life, and I've talked to around the world, most employers shun you. Most people don't want you around them. It's pretty bad to have gone to prison and then come back out and try to make yourself. So that you have in a position to go to now, I think, and I truly believe, Montez, you're not given a second chance. You're given a new opening. Because you've been given second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th chances already. You don't need another chance. What you need is a hand up and not a handout. And I think it's a hand up. So tell me, is this the hand up you need to start you on your path?
I believe so. And the reason that I believe that is because I've sat in front of so many learned people clinically. I've been dissected like a frog. Um, I've talked to psychiatrists, psychologists, so many people, and I'm gonna tell you now, I'm not listening to you because you learned what you learned out of a textbook. You didn't learn it Like I had to learn it. And so I feel like I should be telling you. But see, with this right here, I'm in another lane. First of all, I'm comfortable with you. I feel like I feel like you're me. Um, you know
I
what
am
I'm
one of
saying? Your
you.
struggle.
Believe me, we have similar paths, except for the prison part. We've had a rough life. But
Um,
go ahead.
so I'm inclined to sit here every time we got a session. I don't care what I'm doing, is because I feel like if I don't get if I can get this cleansing right now, I could walk out this front door tomorrow, man, and I might walk to the wizard. I walk to the Wizard of Oz somewhere, or to heaven, or you know, I'm eating milk and honey all day, or I could do anything. You know what I'm saying? But
You got a lot
I
of
need
heart.
my, yeah. Um, I need something to be revamped, because see, I'm already at the top of that mountain. I'm gonna go down it now, and I'm
Well,
scared of.
let me correct you on something. You are nowhere near the top of the mountain. You're on a foothill. Your mountain
Oh,
is yet to be traversed. We're gonna
yeah.
work on getting you on top of your mountain. But I think you're on a good foothill that kind of wore you out a little bit to get you ready for that mountain. Because really, most of your life, Montez, have been wasted. You know this, and I know it.
I do.
You learned a lot of tough lessons along the way, and you came from a background that was grounded in good, in ethical things. Even though you had a criminal life, even though you were in a rough neighborhood and rough times, your grandmother, grandfather, and these people you mentioned, they were like backbone of you. You said, what did you say earlier when I asked you, did you cook? You said, man, I'm a country boy. We got to learn a few things. And, you know, these are your words. People grounded you in the ability. My mother used to tell us when she taught us to cook, she'd make us sit at the kitchen and say, all right, this is salt and pepper and paprika, and this is what you use for taste this, taste that. And of course, we kids, we just want to be there to suck on our fingers, as our moms are cooking, especially cake and icing and all
Yeah.
that. But she taught us in a way to whereas I remember once my mother said something to me. I was a little boy. She says, never be with a woman because you have to be with her. Only be with a woman because you want to be with her. And I didn't really know what that meant. She said, so I'm going to teach you to cook. And I'm going to teach you to, I know how to sew, cook, iron, anything in the house. It doesn't matter. I can do it. I can cook an entire Thanksgiving meal, Christmas dinner, and it tastes just like as if my mom did it. And she was an awesome cook. But you were taught some of these life lessons that should have had you on a path where you could have taken care of a family. You could have grown into a great relationship. You could have done a lot of things, but you were so busy trying to be a soldier, you missed it. You get it?
Yeah.
You missed it.
I,
You got a lot of heart, Montez. And what people don't know is the heart is infinitely more intelligent than the mind will ever be. Your heart is more intelligent than you. Matter of fact, when somebody walks into a room, you just can look at him and your heart tells you, oh, I don't like him at all. This guy is bad news. Your brain got to sit there and think about it. I wonder why he's got that bulge in his pocket. Is it a gun? But your heart already knows there's danger.
mhm.
There's a problem right there. You got a lot of heart, a lot of moxie, and that's good. That's going to get you into the driver's seat at the head of the table at your family and consider all of the other people who are involved in that table. This is what you don't do. This is why you don't listen to the psychiatrists and psychologists, even though you should. And I know in your perspective, because you've had to brave your way through it, but you should listen to them, whether you understand them or not, whether they're conveying it in a way that's useful to you or not, is really the question. Because I think that anybody that comes to the table with any information for you, it should be useful, no matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent information. It doesn't matter. You want all information to be registered with you because it helps you do what? Learn. It helps you understand concepts otherwise you didn't know, or that you knew, but you didn't know how to
Apply.
articulate. Yeah, or apply it, articulate it, apply it, or put it to use for you. So anytime someone's explaining, and I mean anything, tell me about horticulture, the plants and how to get a watermelon seed to grow a watermelon. Tell me, I can care less about that information, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to absolutely listen because it only builds me up. So when I have an opportunity to share with someone who does care about that, I can speak to them on a level with a little bit of extra knowledge that I otherwise thought I would never use, but I'm actually using. And this has happened to me a million times in my life. Why do you use geometry? Somebody once asked me. And then I said, okay, let's go parallel park and I'll show you. Understand geometry. Like you gotta learn angles and at a whatever degree, and you have to learn these things, you know. And people don't see it. You hear everybody in school say, "Yeah, I'll never use this. I'll never dissect a frog." But yeah, wait until somebody gets in a car accident and they're sitting next to you, and their femoral artery is gushing out blood. And you learned that back when you dissected a frog, that in their legs, their femoral artery actually will bleed them out quicker. You just stick your finger in that femoral artery and pinch it off the best way you can, and you will save that person's life. So a lot of these life lessons that we don't want to hear because we don't think it applies to us. Anytime you get anything that happens to you, especially negative, but I look for more positive things and good things that happen, but especially negative that happens to you, it's only preparing you for something else. That's what it's doing. Life is a series of lessons. So I want to learn something in the last 20 so minutes of our session today, Montez, because this is good for our audience. And I want the audience who's watching this now to understand that you are an open book. And I like your personality. You're a tough cookie. You're the kind of guy, when people see you, they walk across the other side of the street because they know you may F them up. You know that. Tell me I'm lying.
No,
Out if you okay. Tell me I'm lying.
no,
Okay. You don't have to play with
no, man.
me. I know
No.
that. But that's a good thing, though. That kind of intimidation is good if you know how to use it. Just by your presence, making people repel from you is not good. But I always tell people, and I would say this about you, Montez
Yeah,
doesn't speak much, but when he speaks, people listen. That's where you want to end up in life.
yeah,
You want to end up to be that person who's ominous, or menacing, a little bit, but tough and can get through something. You know as well as I do, especially in my neighborhood in South Side of Chicago. I grew up in the worst neighborhood in the United States at the time when I was growing up in Chicago. So I can talk about what you went through, and you and I know, we know. But being that menacing guy, that intimidating human being, doesn't always work in your favor. What works in your favor is if you know how to use your powers of presence and your powers of being able to speak something to someone and articulate it, and they actually understand it on their level, and yours as well. A lot of people sometimes in their conversation, they just throw out a bunch of big words and they hope they sound intelligent. Not a good
yeah,
idea, because then it makes you look or sound stupid. So the best thing is, I call it the economy of words. Sometimes the fewer words and the more exact words, the more you're understood.
yeah,
And then speaking from a point of truth, that always helps, because people go, did he just say that? Did he just say he went to prison 4, 5, 6 times? Did he just say that? But now they know. There's no guessing anymore. There's no more of that. Oh my God, I wonder what happened to him. They know. And with truth, you can build something around it. You can say, yeah, but that was unfortunate. That's why I'm on a different path now. It took me 6 times, 5 times going to prison to figure these things out. And I think I got it this time. People want to hear that. People want to know that. And you, more importantly, want to experience it. So, on that note, I'll ask you, when you first went to the adult prison as an adult, was that your second or third or fourth time in prison? Which one was it?
when I first went to an adult prison as an adult, was it my second, third? No, it was my very first time. I was 16, 15.
Yeah. And so they tried you as an adult at 13, and then you went through the whole process of juvenile.
No, no, no. They tried me as an adult at 15.
Okay.
At 13, I was in juvenile DOC.
Okay.
At 15, I was tried as an adult. and went to adult institutions.
How long?
Well, the first time was only 9 months, but the
Mm.
second time was 3 years. So at 15 in the ninth grade for the shooting, it was I got
Shooting your
18
best
months. I had
friend in the hip.
yes,
Okay.
and then the second time I went at 16. I was in the 10th grade. That was penitentiary time, and that was for 3 years. And then I ended up in the state penitentiary, which is I was at where Mike Tyson was at, but then I ended up in Indiana Reformatory outside of Anderson, Indiana,
Okay.
and I paroled from there at 19. And
Okay.
then I was out 5 months, and I was on the indictment with 16 people in East St. Louis, Illinois, and I got 10 years in Illinois after that. So we talking 5 6 months in between.
Each stretch. So each stretch
Yeah,
in prison, you okay. Walk me through a day in the life of the worst prison you were in. Which one was it?
Stateville,
Fayetteville?
Stateville,
Stateville, that's in Ohio,
no,
right?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I don't know that one.
uh, Joliet.
Joliet prison. Yeah, Joliet. They used to threaten me with that when I was a kid. You're gonna go to Joliet prison for boys. Uh,
Yeah, I got lucky. In 2003, they were filming a show on Fox called Prison Break. I was just coming into I made it. I went to Joliet for receiving for about 3 weeks, and then they sent me somewhere else to close the prison down so that it could be the set for the show. But then I ended up at Menard. I turned 20 and 21 in Menard, and then I was in Stateville, which is in Joliet, Illinois. But Stateville's a whole nother prison, and it's one of the worst in the country. And
why is it
I
one of
can't.
the worst?
Well, first of all, they got the only roundhouse in the United States of America.
What's a roundhouse?
Um, a roundhouse is a cell hall that goes up so many stories, and whereas traditionally it would be like rectangular shaped, this is a big circle, and it's every bit of 500 inmates with a guard tower in the middle with M16s and
Okay,
catwalks.
got it. So it's a pit.
Yeah, and that's actually what they call Menard. It was actually built inside of a rock quarry on the Mississippi River.
So it's h- what's the makeup there? Is it what are the Hispanic, black, white? Well, what's
Well, depending on what part of the state you're in, we all know that in the state of Illinois, when you're up north, it's totally different from being down south because Illinois is quite long. It touches Missouri and Kentucky, and so you're getting a different demographic. When
mm,
you're in Menard, which is on the Mississippi River by St. Louis, I watched motorcycle bikers come through the back gates and tear the yard up where the black people play basketball at. And when I was in Stateville, I seen people go through industrial sized dishwashers behind gang affiliations and stuff. Okay, we talking bubbly, you're like getting cooked alive, like boiled. And
mm.
so from the time I was 19 to 25 in the state of Illinois, it was nothing like Indiana. They had some of the roughest prisons. Cook County Jail.
Yeah, I know Cook
Um,
County, the worst.
yeah, man, I got a they had a doctor there who used to have to stick a Q-tip this long um into your private area.
Hmm.
They were going to make you do it, and the correction officers wasn't nothing but gangbangers from the west side or the south side. They were you understand, and
Yeah.
so life get hard. It got really hard, especially when you're scared and you don't know nobody as a teenager.
Were you taking advantage of
In what way?
in any way?
There's a few times there was I think I was taken advantage of for my love of what I wanted to be about. Um, People have to understand every respective state or city is however they are, okay? But when you're dealing with Chicago, Illinois, or St. Louis, East St. Louis, Illinois, something to that effect. First of all, you got to understand that if you're not from there, you're always going to be considered out of town, and you're going to be treated like that. Okay. I didn't understand what Joe meant, which is slang terminology in Chicago. I didn't understand what Charlie was, which is slang in Chicago. I'm from Indiana, and
Mhm.
that got me into a lot of fights because I thought I was being disrespected. It got me. I got stabbed 3 times. I got hit in my eye with padlocks. Um, uh, I the
Explain to our
type of
audience,
stuff,
what is Joe?
huh?
Joe and Charlie. Explain to our audience, what is Joe?
Okay. Well, in Chicago, when you're on the street and in the neighborhoods, the blocks, and you just living your life and you grow up, everybody develops their own ways that they talk and ways that they address people. In Chicago, Joe means hey, hey, buddy, or hey, 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 my guy, or
Colloquially.
something to that effect.
Colloquially. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, and it's different from each side of town. On the west side of Chicago, they don't say Joe. They say something. Yeah, you
Well,
understand.
I know.
So,
Blackstone Lane,
so
disciples,
yeah,
you name it. Yeah, I know. Everybody got
right.
their
And
lane.
so, as far as being taken advantage of, I was a representative, and I called myself something, and I stood by that. And there
What'd you
was
call
times that
yourself?
for gangster, well, growth and development. I'm too young for gangster disciple, but
Mm.
growth and development. And there was said just like anything, there were policies and there was rules and laws, and I wanted to be bad. I wanted to be the best, just like everybody else. And I slid into positions that almost killed me because I didn't know how to do that. I only know I wanted to, and I had to learn. You can't run when you're in prison, because
No,
every day you come out. You're not running. You can't run nowhere.
you have to
So
buck
if you
up.
do something, yeah, you do something wrong to somebody, or you say something sideways, or if you give off this air about yourself that you're um anything other than a man,
You're gonna get beat
take it.
down.
Yeah, yeah, well, you're gonna get everything. Every single little thing you're looking for, you're gonna get all of it because it's just like that. Um, this was 20 years ago. This was 2003, 21 years ago. I'm old school now. I'm not things are different. But when I was I
Growing up in it,
I was man, I had to be scared every day. Shaq wouldn't have made it if Shaq thought he was the baddest person in the world. And I'm sorry, but he wouldn't have because it was somebody badder. When I was in prison in Indiana at 16, 17, 18, 2001, 9/11, I was at IYC outside of Indianapolis. And I heard stories about Mike Tyson when he was there just 4 or 5 years before me. And he wasn't the baddest either. You see? And so you take society's worst people and you put a couple thousand of them inside of a fence or 100-foot wall. And
are they
man,
being
there ain't no
rehabilitated?
no, there's no man. I get so tired. I wish because see, I can tell it. There is no such thing as rehabilitation when you get in prison. And I got experience in 3 different states since I was a kid.
Hmm.
There is no rehabilitation. Those correctional officers, you might run across 1 or 2 that really care, 1 or 2 counselors that really care, 1 or 2 nurses. But other than that, man, ain't there is no rehabilitation. That word shouldn't even be brought up ever again in terms of anything that has to do with prison systems because they don't rehabilitate.
And you losing your identity as a human while in prison, how does that work?
Well, I said in I said in the hole, not segregation. I said in the hole for 3 years. Okay, 3 of them. I watched people that was there for 12, 13, 14 years. I played chess with the guy who killed Jeffrey Dahmer in Wisconsin. Okay,
Mm.
private prisons on top of that. So that makes it worse. Um, you lose your humanity, man, real easy. First, they're not going to talk to you as if you're a human. They're not going to feed you like one. They're going to be happy and they're going to bask and soak in the fact that you're being humiliated when they turn that lock to that big old key that they got and they turn. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see
And
what you're
and
saying.
things they emasculate you and then they dehumanize you. And it's a long steady process. And then if I do something that they deem disrespectful, you put me in the hole or segregation for a year. In Chicago, there was a viewing panel that was about 17 inches long and about 4 inches tall, and that's it. There was no big windows and seeing outside. No,
And that was your
um,
vision to the world for years.
for
So,
years. And
but let me ask you the other side of the coin, because you know it.
yes,
You'll admit it or not, I hope you will. But don't you
let's
think
do
some
it.
of the crimes that some of these people committed in those prison systems warranted that they be shut away and put away? Or do you think
Sure.
there's a better way?
Well, this is my thing right here, and I'm with equality. I'm with fairness. Um, yes, there was a lot of people who deserved, who earned it, but there were just as many who didn't. And I'm gonna tell you something else, man. I hate my experiences. I hate that I had to go through all the things that I went through. I seen murders, I seen rapings, all different type of stuff. But prison wasn't the worst for me because see, I'm a man right now, and I learned how to do it with killers, with murderers, with all walks of life, and I got every ounce of game that I could get up out of them. And you know what? When I came to the free world, these people wasn't moving and grooving like me. They wasn't thinking like me. They weren't as smart. All you want to figure out all the problems in the United States, I have them go to the prisons and get somebody. They're going to figure it out. That's where all the smart people at. But
Well,
they don't.
cunning and smarts are two different things. I
They
think very cunning. I think that and capable. We know the drug dealer on the corner who take no notes knows everybody in the neighborhood how much they owe them down to the penny, and
hmm
their paydays on top of it, and can calculate all that in their head in a matter of seconds. We do know that that is intelligence. It really is, but it's poorly or misdirected in a
hmm
lot of ways. It's useful, very
hmm
useful, but
hmm
oftentimes just misdirected. But I'm glad you're giving both sides of the account. You know, growing up with killers, been there, done that. Trust me, I thought all
Yeah,
of my uncles were Samuel L. Jackson growing up. All
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
the boys in the hood version of Samuel L. Jackson, you know,
yeah.
and all my uncles were that way, and my cousins, and I mean, everybody was involved in trying to stay alive. And then I joined the military, and my one of my mentors was shot 17 times. And he's still walking around in different operations and been in those many firefights and killers, real soldiers, real killers,
Yeah.
and real battles. I mean, hundreds of battles. So I say all that to say that we all have experiences that, especially veterans now that are coming back from the war, or people getting
Mhm.
out of prison today, they have an uphill battle. I don't think our society is equipped to deal with people we've already used. When a soldier goes to the military and then they come out of the military, they've been used to a certain extent, and they've been indoctrinated and socialized and mentally uh, 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 put in a place where they're capable of things they otherwise wouldn't have ever done. And then they come out in the civilian world and none of that exists. Like you come out of prison, nothing exists that's cooperative and indicative of what you've just lived. You
Mhm.
can't even measure it. And I think that's why, you can go into any bridge in the country and you'll see veterans. 22 veterans every single day commit suicide. Every single day, 22 veterans average. People come out of prison. They go right back to prison because they indoctrinate you to only know prison. So that's what you know. You know crime, you know prison, you know three hots in a cot. That's what we used to call it. Three hots in a cot. They know that is what is waiting for them. So I'm saying all that to say that's called conditioning.
Yeah.
You've been conditioned, and now you're being reconditioned for the life you're leading now, getting married,
Right.
occupation, prioritizing people, prioritizing life, staying tough, always be a man. And being tough is not necessarily being a man. But since you got it, since you are a tough guy, keep it. Keep that. But but there's a lot of guys. I was standing up in line at a store one day, and one guy, and a couple white guys, they like buddies and stuff, I guess. And one guy just took his fist and popped him in the mouth and said, "Shut up." And the other guy looked at him and just held his face. And in my head, I'm thinking I would beat him to death with that other guy's leg. in my head. But
Yeah.
some people are not tough. No, some people don't know what to do with that. They have no idea what to do with somebody just pop you in the mouth. They don't know. They let that pain, that sting stop them. You don't. I don't. And quite a few other people that I know do not. It doesn't even faze them. They know that they're going to fight to the death. They don't try to hit you in the face. They try to hit you in the back of the head. They go right through your face to the back of your skull. I know people like this. So, and I used to teach martial arts in special forces. I used to be the one of the hand-to-hand combat guys in our battalion. And I also taught martial arts while I was in special forces. And I remember having a guy, I won't mention his name, but I had a guy who was on my team. He wanted to take karate lessons with me, and the style was Gojuru. And he used to love these. He used to love these fight movies, these martial art movies. He loved it, and he loved their style of kung fu, the karate, all that. I never really watched those things, but he loved them. And so he used to tell me stories about him. So one day he gets into the dojo, and we were going to advance him to brown belt. And I had a panel of other black belts out of special forces, all with special forces, Green Berets. And we were actually doing the examination. And I said, Tsuketse Ashime, which is because I was officiating. It was a Japanese to say go, start, whatever, start the spawn. He said, well, when I first get there, I'm going to roll out and I'm going to kick the one guy and I'm going to do a yokogeri, a side kick right there in his chest. And then when I come off of that, I'm going to do a ushiro mawashigeri. I'm going to do a roundhouse kick and pop him. And then I'm going to do that like in one of the movies. And I said,
Yeah.
oh, no problem. I said, just keep your wit about you. You have two opponents here, so be careful. They're going to probably beat you down. This is Special Forces Green Beret. This guy been on more missions than I can count. So I went, Ushime. And the minute I did that, he kicked the one guy in the chest, rolled over, Ushima Washigeri. The other guy, they were both knocked out. I mean, it lasted 5 seconds, maybe 6. So you don't want to lose your toughness just because you're learning a new discipline. You can take a punch. You can give one too, it's obvious. You had to do that in order to survive. So I'm going to end our time today. We got about 3 minutes left. And I do have to say a few things. And this is, important. I always miss this, but I want to say it. But before I go there, I want to just let you know one thing. We're going to start listening to your stories. You're kind of vague sometimes, brother. You kind of like cloudy. I want you to take a deep breath, and the pain, bring it out. That pain will stop you in life. It'll just stop you. So you got to let it go, let it out, and let it be heard and understood. More importantly, once people understand you, that inferiority complex goes away. If you feel understood and appreciated for what you have said, or what you've accomplished, or what you've gone through in your life, then people will feel better about you. They'll feel better about you, and you'll feel better about you, because people will appreciate you instead of cast aspersion or judgment. So I think that's the biggest lesson we always miss in life, is that we think people are thinking that we're terrible people, or that, oh, because I'm black, he don't like me, or because I'm white, he must want to rob me. People always think the worst first. And when that same guy could be standing again, wow, I wish I had a guy like that working on my team right now in the workplace, because he looked like a tough cookie and he can handle people. And then probably not thinking, oh, he looks like he's a thug or he's going to rob me. They're probably not thinking that. So we have to learn ourselves in order to appreciate what we believe in others. If we don't believe in ourselves, how can we have belief in others? It's impossible. So I want to close with you on that note, and we're going to give you more and more chance to share with us. And I'm going to stop. It's like it's like it's like pulling teeth, getting you to explain things, which is good because everybody's reticent. Everybody's like everyone who sits in your chair, the first, second, third, fifth session, they're slow to say what they want to say. But you have a lot to say, brother, and you have to say it in context. And we'll talk more about that over time. So let me read this so we can close out because I don't want to go too far over because we have to post this. But let me just take it off of this thing. Forgive me for breathing. I will hold my breath. If you enjoyed and got something out of today's session, please show us some love by sharing this video, subscribing to our channel, and of course, liking it. Make comments. Be a part of what we're trying to accomplish. If you want to know more about yourself, watch our sessions. If you want to know more about others around you, watch our sessions. Our next norm therapy session will be on Sunday, January 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested in norm therapy sessions, if you need help with abuse of any of the 21 abuses that we champion, from narcissism to child abuse, and of course, sex trafficking, narcissistic abuse, we can go down the list. We don't deal with alcohol and drugs yet, but we are working on our protocols for that. And once we have the proper licensure in place, we will be involved in that as well. We've created a norm therapy for both. We'll talk more about that as well. So if you want to buy sessions, go to normtherapy.com. They're $100 per session, and it's less than traditional counseling if you've looked at your purse strings and pocketbooks these days. Most individuals spend between $120 to $200 for a single session in normal therapy and traditional therapy. The difference between us and traditional counseling is that we specifically focus on abuse care, helping individuals who have experienced abuse in their lives. We focus and champion 21 abuses that I've talked about. You can go to our website and find them on our website. And you can learn more about us at normtherapy.com. Also, you can go to GoArrow, GoARO.org, GoARO.org, and you'll be able to learn more and read those definitions and become abreast. Montez, you want to close us out on anything you want to tell our audience?
I appreciate everybody listening to me. For what it's worth, I definitely appreciate that. I want to say to you though, I am also an enthusiast. I love martial arts. I love
What?
Wing Chun. Okay,
Oh,
and yeah,
I
I love it, man. You
there
just
you
made
go.
you right. You just made my day. Just wow. So, but yeah,
Well,
I appreciate everybody, and thank you. You feel free to say something.
all right.
I'll tell you anything. So,
All right, brother. Well, we'll talk the next meeting. Get your thoughts together. I'm gonna talk more about your prison time, specific things that happened to you without incriminating others or yourself. Of course, we don't want to do that. But we want to talk about some specific things because what you may say may prevent someone from going into prison. You may help someone make a better decision. No one wants to be in a cage. No one. So, uh, so we'll talk more about that. Listen, brother, have a great day. Good talking to you, Montez. Is always, we always learn something new. Thank you
you
very
too.
much, everyone, for joining us. And I'll see you next, I think on next Tuesday. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye.